Hi, Libra. I'm going to go ahead and do your August reading. Trying to get my lip gloss. I just had an episode, I just had a moment. One of my pearl earrings, I realized I didn't have it. So then I retraced my steps to look for it. And then I settled on the idea, all right, well, it's gone, it's gone. There's nothing I can do about it. And then came to sit down and I saw it on the floor. And then I saw the back on the other side of me. So it was like, okay. Not only is it always in the last place you look, it's also when you're not looking for it, it's exactly when you find it. I did a reading yesterday and it was for Pisces and I could not upload it. So they'll have to get something else. And I need to get out of that water energy because it's a lot of stuff to unpack. I do have the Wild Unknown archetype cards here. There are 78 of them. So in a way, they may align with the tarot, but not really. It takes you quite a bit deeper than normal oracle decks would. And me using this, I know it's going to bring out, it really flexes my soulful muscle. Those too many. All right. Okay. Oh, that's two. We have the bridge in reverse. There's something not quite connecting here. I want to read this reverse meaning. You also have the Judge, which is quite appropriate for you. The Nectar, that sweet spot, right? And then we have the one. 38. Lacking boundaries, forcing connection. The connection, the link, the gate. Bridges are built to connect two worlds. They create flow, allowing us to travel between realms, ideologies, personalities. This archetype is the gesture of acceptance, of saying yes, rather than withdrawing, separating, and saying no. When we cross a bridge to the unknown land, we are led magically into a new reality. We open up to otherness. Healing and communication are made possible. We enter a state of curiosity, wonder, and learning. The shaman, for example, creates the bridge between the everyday world and the sacred. This card asks us to study the connections between the seemingly disconnected parts of our life, relationships, ideologies, histories, remembering that a bridge cannot be forced. It must be made with love, or its structure will not withstand the inevitable weather of life. And I like that it is in the reverse because there's a point. There's a fine line between acceptance and allowance. There's a fine line between connection and obligation. And there's also a fine line between giving and enabling. And I do feel that you've had to be your own judge of character with this. You've had to assess it on your own. And we spoke last time about people being on the scale with you you not being able to properly judge a situation if you're another person that's in the balance. So what this is saying is for you to stop seeking, stop searching, stop connecting. Though it's not, it is a sense of withdrawal, but not, and even the vow is in reverse. So it's just giving me like a live and let live type of vibe, which is cool. We have the judge and the one, and it's like, let it be known on its own. Like let it stand up and own its own position. This isn't something that you have to instill. This isn't something that you have to invoke or evoke. There's an allowance, but there's also a boundary here. There's an acceptance, but also a boundary here. And this is what brings it sweetness. With the nectar, there is still that separateness, but then here's that togetherness where all those in between shades of gray is more than 50. You have that duality here where there's this opposition, but then there's this gray area, and then here's this what is known, what is seen, what is, actual. So there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes, and this is why no connection can be forced, no matter how right it may feel. And even if you have the knowing or the concept of what the one is, it takes for a process of elimination to get to that one. It's like you have to allow someone else's deductive reasoning to get them to the denominator, to get it to its simplest form. It isn't something that you can just show or just tell another person and expect them to get it and agree. They have to know everything else in order to see what's remaining. And that's not an easy concept to not when it comes to matters of the heart, it isn't. It's like having a multiple choice test and you don't know the answer. You think you know what the answer could be, but a lot is riding on this one answer. And it's the make or break. It's the one that, in choosing this answer, it could be that one question that means you pass or that you fail. I was about to say fast. So in doing the process of elimination, survival of the fittest almost even comes to mind here. It's like, if you remove the bridge, can a person still make it to the other side? Or when they're going through these answers, they figure out why something else doesn't work and the real reason why it doesn't make sense, why it doesn't add up. That is necessary in order for them to be resolute in the question, the answer to the question. They may infer that they know this answer with their intuitive mind, but to make themselves feel more secure and feel more safe and feel more sure, this judge energy, they have to see exactly what does not work in order to see what is really there. One, they will reach a dead end and a stall. These other two things have eliminated themselves. They've reached a stall with something, and then this is the only one that gives way to resolution, gives way to answers. The answer, the one, the choice. And that's the nectar. That's the sweet spot. Because a person can feel assured and confident because they know that they have taken all the wrong avenues and seen all these twists and turns that do not lead in that one place that they know that they're supposed to go. So, in figuratively to a little literal stance, multiple choice test to actually driving on the road. What makes this a dead end? I don't have the dead end card here, but what makes this not viable? I really need to understand it. So there's no way I could even venture back down this road. If I know for certain and for sure it is not for me, there's no need for me to ever revisit. And that's something that you need to understand when it comes to the bridge. You don't want to have these loose ends lingering with you and other people, or your person and other people. You need to allow the finality to actually happen and be in acceptance that that is necessary before something else can actually come together. So for the judge, we have what influence. I don't know if you know this judge energy is happening, but with you having the Libra justice influence, you got to be sensing it. I feel that you are. You may feel like the decision is yours to make, or that it's something that you're going to have to execute, something that you're going to have to weigh up all the facts and things like that. I think the decision that you initially made was the right one, but your intuitive streak and your knowing is not equivalent to another's. Their mode of learning and experiencing and actually implementing with their decision making takes a lot more feeling and be actually being in it. They can't just mentally come up with the answer. They have to use their own life itself as the tell. That's what it is. You can very, very clearly deduct or come to certain conclusions and have certain ways of guiding or expressing or storytelling even, and it still gets to the point. It still reaches a solution, but this person cannot focus. They can't hear or read something and understand. They're tactile. They have to do it. That's the only way that it will stick. And now it is a part of their physical makeup and their DNA structure. They understand the feeling of going through that experience. Again, it will burn that bridge with other people indefinitely. And this is the type of finality that they need. Not just the decision being made. They have to feel why their decision is necessary in order to make it make sense. The nectar. We have the root chakra here. And the one, solar plexus. This is a mind, body, spirit type of configuration, with the root chakra being everything solid, your body. Like I said, they have to feel the nectar. And in the judge instance and the one itself, they're still kind of there's no color here. So they're not going off of appearances or what they see. They're really going to have to feel it. In their mind, they could know that a person is the one, because the solar plexus is, to me, like the second brain. It is a mental chakra where you do have that gut response to certain things in your environment. So they could already have the gut instinct that you are the one, or that this is very clearly, I mean, it's a triple X. So maybe they definitely do feel it in a very physical way, that this is, you know, this is where I should be. This is where I should set up shop or put down roots, or in what it may be. But as long as this bridge is in reverse, right? Not only are the connection to you, because it was done in the same pattern, even though for different reasons with those different hues here, they were connecting bridges and they were crossing bridges with people in the same manner. So they also had to stop connecting with yo ass in a certain way. Sorry, I had to say it like that. But they had to do it in that way so that their heart could actually be the judge itself. So after all of these ties are severed and all of these bridges are no longer in use, what still remains is what the question will be. And the thing that stands out most is the nectar. It's like there's a certain level of sweetness here that just, it cannot be denied. It's like when it comes down to the judge card, when it comes to vision, because this is that yellow here, it's aligning with the solar plexus, right? It's making things clear with who the one is. And you could even be going through this process of figuring out who the one is. But there's a certain level of being able to see opposites, opposing ideas, coming from a view of subjectivity to objectivity, and knowing the difference when there's an action and it's not a pause, it's not a no, it's not a stop, it's not a stall, but it's a not yet, or it's a take it easy. It's a different, it feels different. And this nectar shows that, because you know the different. Like there's something about this start stop energy, something about this vow energy. It is in the reverse, but you know what it is, but you also know the other side as well. So in feeling that coming from this judge energy, there's different ways of being handled. You know when intent is malicious, or you know when somebody doesn't have your best interest at heart, and this is not what I'm feeling here. But also they're not feeling here. They know the difference. Your no, your withdrawal from a person, or their withdrawal from you, has nothing to do with ill intent. But it's like I have to be able to practice boundaries with each and every person in my life. Even somebody that I can see as the one, I have to make sure that temptation is not an issue for me. I have to make sure that I'm not second guessing myself along the way, because I can't trust this person fully if I don't trust my decision to be there fully. So it's more so about themselves than it has anything to do with you. So if with this judge energy, instead of judging the situation in that regard, make it make sense. If it's someone else, because this judge energy is coming up with the vibration of temperance. So it's really being able to take a different approach. And even this bridge is showing about ideologies and relationships and the way of doing things. If you're not the one constantly building the bridge, how can this person make a way to get to you? They would really have to trust their decision to do that in order to even build a bridge in your direction. This is what they're putting themselves to the test with. This is why they're going through all the multiple choice questions that don't make sense, in order to fully understand why they don't. And that's what makes them more resolute and more decisive on the decision that they do make, and can judge correctly, because it's coming from a place of knowing, even though they've already got the solar plexus, mental impulse. Their body is giving them the cues and the clues. Their body has also led them astray. Their instincts have also led them astray. So now they're integrating all parts, body, mind, and spirit, in a way where when they make a decision, it is what it is. And that's it. There's no going back. There's no breaking connections on false premises or false pretenses, or because they think that they're being led in another direction. They'll understand clearly why certain things are dead ends and won't even, they'll have the foresight to put a stop and put brakes on shit, and they'll know exactly what to allow. This will lead here and they can see it. So they're going to choose what is actually allowing them free passage to actually go across a bridge to a safer place, a place where there is nectar, where things are growing. Shit. Well, King of Cups and the Lovers, Emperor, Queen of Swords. If this isn't Libra and Aries energy, I don't know what the hell is. But this King of Cups is sitting here. You understand? So this person is able to show up as an emperor in order to be resolute in their thinking. They also have to have the emotional capacity and the knowing in order to make the right choice. But this influence is coming with the one, with the solar plexus. This is that mental energy. And if it is air element, it would be you, the one. Okay? And that's something I was already sensing, something I was already getting. And the Queen of Swords is here, knowing that the Emperor is the one, is the judge. You know what I mean? This is somebody who would be in a position of power to make those types of decisions, right? But what's stopping them? These bridges that they've made. They have to be able to not be swayed by emotion, not to be swayed by something that feels like nectar, looks like nectar, but really is bitter sap. Okay, so like I said, they had to take all the wrong choices, all the wrong roads, all the wrong bridges, make all the wrong decisions. Taking those possibilities all the way to the dead end of the idea or the concept to understand this does not add up. This is not the answer. This is not the one. And we can say it in a smart ass way, like, oh, they left you and they went and sold their wild oats and they played you, and that's subjective. Objective. Remove yourself as the object. Okay? It's not your life that they're living. So even when they're away from you, it's almost a sense as if you're still attaching yourself to their actions, making yourself victim to the circumstances that they've got going on in their life. And when third party energy comes up, if they're not directly connecting with you and they're not with you in that moment, because being in love with someone, it takes two to be in mutual ground. If you are in separation, everything that is separates you and them has nothing to do with you. It is not your life to be living or judging these subjects, because you're not supposed to even be involved. So if you're even grasping at energy and information from a tarot reading to see what they've got going on, third party would be you, not somebody else that they're doing this assessment on to see and judge for themselves. You're interjecting your own energy into a situation you're not in. This is why third party energy would always be current. The choice of the lovers is if they want to do something or they don't want to do something. It could be that they have to see one person here. Do I want to do this with this person or not? Instead of saying, do I want this person or do I want that one? This Emperor energy is coming in as the judge, and it's being very decisive and it's being very responsible because other people are in the balance. So they're going to assess this one thing and they're going to assess this one thing. They're not putting two people up on a scale against each other. They're not judging in that manner. They want to see very clearly why something does not work in one direction. And then they want to see the other one and see why it does or does not work for them, for their personal stability, the nectar that they seek, the one that they feel in their solar plexus space that they want to have enough courage and enough conviction to go towards. So This Queen of Swords energy has to sit in her confidence, not in any pain from the past. She has to be able to sit in her confidence and say, there is no choice but forward. Cool. There is no choice but forward. So we're not going over bridges. These same bridges that were built, they were built in a way where a person had their own pattern of building bridges with people. So if there is a separation and it seems like it's water under the bridge and the bridge has been burned, let that be a purification process. Because now, if anything, if they're going to get to you or use this King of Cup energy to come towards your direction, they have to build a new bridge from the ground up. They would be bridging the gap, not you keeping the bridge open. Okay? Blow the shit up with C4. Completely end and annihilate the situation itself. If it is to be, it has to begin again. But that means it has to have a start. If you never burn the bridge, it never has ended. So the bridge has to be completely cleared, blown up, no trace, for a person to understand how to get from one side to the other, and not you doing it or you leaving it open or leaving, throwing a rope and a lifesaver trying to pull them back to the side you're on. You have to allow the emperor to be an emperor and prove to himself why he is the emperor. Even if it is a female, there's certain things that a person has to do autonomous to make sure that they are secure in themselves. This root chakra energy is the only thing this fucking bright. It's coming up with this nectar card. What they really want out of life, what they really want to build, how they really want to feel, what they really want to experience is going to be something of their making. And if you're a part of that, again, they will find a way to get their ass to you. It's not something that you can do for them. And you've already, in a way, paved this roadmap or printed, you already given some kind of blueprint or some kind of guide. But that's the most that you could have done. But your influence does bring in a sense of being fair and taking others into consideration. So with this Lover's card, the Emperor has to use the Lover's card in consideration. What's next? What do I do? How do I do this? What's the best decision for everyone involved? But also not denying myself of what I want. Okay, well, let me be fair. Let me handle this one situation without the influence of another person, without bringing them into this, without having them hold on, without forcing a connection with them, without reaching out and blurring lines. Let me be very black and white, blunt and clear, and remove my energy. Because what I'm looking for is that one answer to the question I've been posing for myself, and nobody can answer it but me. The Emperor has to make his own decision, has to live his own life in order to understand why certain shit makes sense. And he won't understand just by being told. He won't understand just by watching. He has to immerse himself in and physically do it. He has to do it from a place of, he's wearing this red cloak. He really has to put himself in the situation, and his mental capacity with this gold aligning with the solar plexus, keeping in mind what he knows the one to be. He's already got vision. He's already got a sense of what that is, but he wants to make sure that it's not on a whim, that it's just not superficial. Can't have his empire come down like a tower. And maybe there has been many tries in different directions where it was like the house built of sticks, a house built of straw. You know what I'm saying? This person wants bricks. They are cemented on this throne. This throne is made of cement. They need something very solid. And you're a queen sitting on a solid throne. So this is why they can understand why it does make sense. But before I make this definitive decision, let me try all of the options that aren't as promising, because I want to know why specifically this shit don't make sense. Queen of Wands, Three of Pentacles. There has been building in another direction, okay? In different ways. These pentacles had a lot of potential to grow, but they're still hollow. There's still a lot not being seen, not being clear. It's not definitive. And that's not something that they can take a chance on. They just don't feel confident in that type of decision. It's not aligning with what they feel. They see potential. She's sitting on the throne too, and it looks great. It looks promising. Okay. It could even be sturdy and stable. But it's not a hell yes, and therefore it's a no. But they have to find out why it's a no. So this is that representation I was telling you about. The emperor himself had to go out. This is what I feel. This is what I know. I still have to go out and see the other possibilities. I still have to go out and make sure. Nobody's asking you to wait for that shit. No one. This is just a personal mission, right? And even still though, right? While this is here and this is solid, this is a solid option, this is a solid opportunity, there's still, everyone comes to this point in their life where they have to take control and seek outside of themselves, and they go traveling. People go on pilgrimages and seek that solitude, but they'll be out and they'll be traveling just to find themselves. It's like it's hermit energy that doesn't know it's hermit energy. Let me just pack up my shit and go travel and backpacking and go to a place of peace. And it's predominantly to bring them back to center and what they really align with. Okay, so that was what was happening here. And I want you to take notice of the lilies and the roses. The Knight of Pentacles. All right, this is you. You're taking this energy, you're solid. You're doing what you have to do. You continue to build, but it's not a bridge in their direction. They're looking in the opposite direction, or had been looking in the opposite direction, because quite literally, the Queen of Swords is looking in this direction. And the Emperor is looking straight ahead. Okay? So these two people aren't even looking at each other to be the solution. They're continuing to be autonomous and do their own thing, because that's what's necessary. That's how you actually build bridges. That's how you can't. Some people build bridges just to get the fuck away from the side they're on. This person allowed the bridge to be blown to smithereens, so they had no choice but to deal with what they had on that side of things. They had to deal with it. And the only way to come back and travel back would actually be to move forward. It wouldn't be you trying to repair something that was already broken. It would be completely brand new. You're headed towards the Magician, right? Roses and lilies. So even this is still indicating that where you're headed is where they're going. Y'all just not traveling in that direction together. You're not taking the same mode of transportation. You guys are doing it in two different ways. And that doesn't say that either one of you is wrong, because it's objective. It's not subjective. You're not the one judging the situation. You're just in it, or you feel like you're in it, but it's not connected. These are two different life events happening simultaneously that do meet at a point. So you may be looking, like if this was a triangle, you'd be at one point looking at the other point. They're looking up. So you keep looking up, you keep looking forward, you keep moving in that direction, which is legitimately happening here. And it gets to the point where King of Cups is looking at the Queen of Swords, who still maintain their independence, who still maintain their ability to keep moving, who was not stopped by someone else's handicap, somebody else's stumble over an answer. They had their own trajectory. They had their own path to keep moving on. And that's something that they actually need in their life. Because here, this person's not going to actually put in physical work to build. They're going to supply energy depending on whatever mood they're in. The Queen of Swords is going to keep directing energy, keep solidifying things, and she's going to keep communicating her needs, her desires, her wants, what needs to be done. She's going to voice her opinions, and she's going to help shape the way Mercurial. She's very active in creating the life that she wants for herself, putting her words in motion and being very deliberate with her speech. Knight of Pentacles. This is a very careful energy. Careful about where you're spending your time, your mental energy, and what you're creating with it, Magician. And this person is not quite equipped to do that. They don't have on the armor. They don't have the preparation. They're building, they're working in another direction. They're not going to take the Knight approach that you're going to take. They're going to find a way to elevate themselves to emperor status, but not by your judgment of what an emperor is, because that's your point of view. The emperor that they're attempting to be is wholesome in a way that you can't suggest for them. You think you know what you want in a person. You can want qualities in a person, but how those qualities are built, you're not in control of. People have to learn these traits and skills. Some things are in you, and other things you have to have lifestyle changes and acquire new skill sets in order to implement certain things to be that type of person that another person is desiring. All right, so in that process, it's like, damn, when I met you, you were not that one. You were not that person. This could be coming from you, Libra. Looking at it, they were not that person, but you sensed and knew that they could be, or you sensed and knew that they would be, right? But the process of them getting there, if you're witnessing it all from point A to point Z, it's going to look real ugly and it's going to look real raggedy in your eyes. Just like if they knew who you were at point A and now who you are at point Z, if they're meeting you at point W or X or, Y, you're very much there, closer than you've ever been to being the man or woman that you were intended to become. And you still have so far to go. So you're the best that you've ever been, but you're not the best that you're ever going to be. So you met them at a time when they weren't taking that into consideration about themselves. They didn't think that that's how things worked. And in order to find out who the emperor is to them, more so than just the king, because the empress is not even on the board. You're not on the board as an empress. You're clearly sitting here as the Queen of Swords. And so there's a certain personal level of being solid and being stable that they acquire and are acquiring and require for themselves that you can't account for. It's their own personal vision and their goal. Just like you're headed towards the Magician with this Knight of Pentacles, you're taking your life very seriously. And because you're not actually being included in this process of them coming into their own, it almost feels as if it's just irreparable. It can't come back from this or anything like that. But this is something, it does remain the one. I'm getting Freddie Mercury vibes with this. The Queen. So, I mean, this is that other avenue that was taken. They have this Queen of Swords, right? That's one way. That's something solid. It's sitting here very solid, bolted in. It is something that is a constant. It's something that has not changed. In a good way, it is what it is. But what is this? I need to figure out what this is. Because if this is it, then why is this not it? Is the question. And that's what has been worked on. That's what's been configured. And I'm telling you, this person has to learn by doing. They have to be in it, and they have to, without a doubt, feel it in their heart. There is no way that this is going to work. It seems volatile anyway. The Queen of Wands and the Emperor energy they're not aligned. They're not going to, even though they both have that fire, they both have that spark, they have it in a way that clashes. It's too much heat. It's too much fire. Vow in reverse. But just having this one and having this vow in reverse, you see the solar plexus energy. A person has to feel and know that this is like bondage. They have to know that's why it does not work, because they decided on this, but it was an instinctual decision. It was a gut-based decision. It is black and it is white. It is clear. They can see it. They can see it. This gray area, this type of experience, it has a skull here. It has to come to a natural death. It has to come to a natural state of death. The mouth, the nose and two eyes of the skull is like this Three of Pentacles. They have to understand why it doesn't work. They have to know. Their heart has got them in some fucked up position, so they can't really follow that as the judge itself. Because what they thought they loved, it's like, these are things that people are brought up into. Like when a person is figuring out, when they ask themselves that question, what does love mean to me? Or what does connection mean to me? Or what do I want? What do I need? And then it's like, damn, well, what do other people need? And they're learning this through other people communicating with them and these experiences that they're having away from you. These people are voicing concerns. They're coming with a Queen of Swords influence, almost being a voice that you're not aware of, being a voice and an advocate for you. They're teaching this person how to be considerate, even though that person may not be considerate for them, and it won't end in them achieving this oneness or this nectar with this person. The person's like, well, I need more of this and I need more of that, and you're not taking my feelings into account. They're teaching them how to love you better. So when they come back, they're going to have all this information on how to be considerate, how to be fair, how to be balanced, how to give, but also how to receive. If they were receiving too much before, now they're dialing it back because they know you have needs too. So allow this to happen. No, accept that this has happened and allow yourself to keep moving forward. If they're on your level, they will align on your path and be where you are. You don't have to stop to rebuild this bridge for them to cross. You're not bringing past shit with you. So they're going to have to do whatever they have to do to travel, to build that bridge, that new bridge, to get to where you are. Because you're no longer sitting in the same space anymore. You're actively manifesting very carefully, very considerably, calculating, making sure that you're accounting for what it is you need and what you want and what you desire. And you're creating with that space. And this is the influence that's going to encourage them to keep doing what they're doing. It's just that if you keep keeping tabs or wondering or attaching to them as your partner, them as your connection, them as your soulmate, you also take on the brunt of whatever they're doing as a consequence of yours, and it has nothing to do with you. You're assigning pain to yourself that you're not living, you're not experienced, it's not being done to you, it's not being given to you. There's a reason for the separation, there's a reason for burning this bridge in order for you to not be affected by what is happening in their life. There's connection to them means something more than you assume it to be. Just because you two have made a connection does not mean that what they're doing is to spite you. That has to be very clear. So you have to allow them to do their thing and go through their thing. Even if this is a person that you have never been with and have never taken that step with, right? They're still going to have to do this. You don't just get a perfect specimen of a partner dropped down in front of you. These motherfuckers had to go through shit. They had to get their heads knocked between the wall and the dry. They had to be broken up with. They had to be cheated on. They had to be the cheater. They had to be the, whatever, in order for them to learn by doing. People can't just be told what the hell to do. They really don't learn that way. They can't just hear it. They can't just see it. They can't just be, it has to, some things have to be done by one's own doing. They have to put hands on it in order to, or get their hands put on shit. I don't know. But it's like they couldn't knock it until they tried it. Now they know why this don't work. Now they know why that's not for me. Now they know. And you're no different. You had to go through all these experiences of what you didn't like and what you didn't want and what you didn't deserve and what you didn't need in order to refine what it is that you do. So respect the process, even if it's opposite of yours or you feel like you're on the other end of it. You're not connected to it. The bridge has been broken. The tether has been broken. The cord has been broken. So if it's very difficult to get to tap into them or to grasp them, you can have people telling you all day long what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, blah 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 blah, and it's like you're still trying to make yourself relevant in a situation that's not even yours to be handling. You shouldn't be thinking about whatever they're doing with whomever else because you're not in it actively in the situation. You're on the outskirts of whatever. You're not even in the same vicinity. So it's like it's not directly affecting you. It's indirectly being taken on by you. It's indirectly happening and you're taking it on as if it's personal. That's like somebody making a post on Facebook and then people are butthurt and start to respond. Hit dogs holler. There's a trigger there to let you, this is where that separation, that detachment comes from. You have to understand that the bridge is broken, that the bridge is gone. if there's any perceived attachment, it's coming from you. There's no one holding you there. They're not tugging on your energy. They're popping up in your mind because you're thinking about them, and they could think about you, and that could, you'll get the confirmation of that. Cool, but you have to understand when your energy is holding someone else hostage, it actually stalls their progress. It prevents them from making decisions for themselves. It's almost like with some of the energies I'm speaking to, it's like trying to influence them, like cheering them on. And, it's one thing to be supportive, it's another thing to be, like when a person knows that they're being watched and they can feel that your influence is all around them, they start to second guess themselves, right? This was the very reason why they had to go off and do their own work, so that they could come back and show you what they can do and who they can be, also for themselves, because you influence that for them to do their very best, not for you but for them. There's a difference. So if you're watching them make these mistakes and you're currently in their energy, they're feeling a sense of you, ogling, watching, always being like a hovering energy. And this will stall the process. This is the reason why this vow, this Queen of Wands energy, did not work with them. It was overbearing, overpowering, too much heat, too much fire, too much pressure. And they didn't want that. But if you become that pressure, that heat, that pride, and always trying to seek and sift and try to grab information, you're trying to hold on to their energy, tether yourself to their energy. And they're going to feel that too. It's going to keep them away from you longer. Because they'll still have the sense, well, damn, they're still judging everything I'm doing. They're going to feel this on a cellular level, on an energetic level. I'm still being critiqued. I'm still being watched. I'm still not able to make my own mistakes, to learn my own lessons. So it is a judging energy here. For them to be their own judge versus being judged by you makes a lot of fucking difference. So when I say acceptance, radical acceptance, just to be able to live and let live. Not give any more thought to it, no more communication to it, because it's a thing of the past. It's over. It's done. So if you have new love coming, you cannot be tethered to something from the past. The past and the future cannot exist at the same time. You're not the same person that you were. But if you have things that are reoccurring from the past in your present, it's because the past is not resolved. You're still in the past. You're still there. Your energy is still running there. Your thoughts are still running there. So if you're going forward, you have to be very, very decisive about it. And very sure. Just as sure as they have to be to move forward and meet you where you are. You're doing the same things, but you're doing it in different ways. That's it, Libra.